Shalom, brothers and sisters. So this video is going to be a bit longer because I want to just give you a glimpse of what we're looking at here that they're putting together. So the Pact for the Future, if you haven't heard of it before, is a proposed outcome document for the UN Summit of the Future in 2023. It aimed to define the strategic priorities and actions for achieving sustainable development goals, the SDGs, and addressing global challenges. So I printed it and I've just highlighted a few key things I want you to see. Now this is the document and what's going to jump out at you. So I'll touch on a few things. We, the heads of state and government, representing the peoples of the world, these so-called leaders representing the people of the world, they definitely don't represent me, gathered at United Nations headquarters to take action and safeguard the future for present and coming generations. Sounds cute. We are at the moment of acute global peril. Poverty, hunger, inequality, armed conflict, violence, displacement, terrorism, climate change, disease, adverse impacts of technology, most of which they have a hand in doing. Humanity faces a range of potentially catastrophic and existential risks. It is a moment of opportunity, if properly managed, a better future for all. The challenges we face far exceed the capacity, this is fun, of any single state to manage alone. Can't do this as a country on your own. We need a new world order, a one world government, one entity, because you can't do this on your own. A strong and sustained international cooperation, multilateral system that is fit for the future, ready to address political, economic, environmental, and technological changes in the world with the agility to adapt to an uncertain future. Committed to meaningful changes to global governance. Vastly more complex challenges are coming. Of course, they know this because they've played most of them. Strive for a world that is safer, more peaceful, more just, more equal, more inclusive, more sustainable, more prosperous. To achieve this, we reaffirm our commitment to the Charter of the United Nations and international law. We also reaffirm the 3 pillars of the United Nations. Islam also has pillars, by the way. Development, peace and security, and human rights. And when they say peace and security, then sudden destruction shall come upon them, and they shall not escape. It's just highlights. We recognize the universality, indivisibility, interdependence, and interrelatedness. They employed someone to just find the biggest, most crazy words they could to confuse everyone into agreeing to everything. We reaffirm on the 75th anniversary, we commit to accelerating, speeding it up because time's short, multilateral system with the United Nations at its center. The United Nitwits is at the core of this organism that will be the new world order. That's why they hate Israel so much. We commit to concrete action in 5 broad areas. Sustainable development and financing for development. Part of the 2030 agenda. 2030 agenda mentioned twice just in that section. International peace and security. Peace and safety. Peace and stability. Science, technology and innovation with digital cooperation. Part of the 2030 agenda. Peace and security, 2030. Peace and security, 2030. Global Digital Compact. Youth and future generations, education, lifelong learning involving youth in the work of the United Nations. Again, the core of the beast that's rising here. Transforming global governance. We reaffirm the intergovernmental character of the United Nations to address global challenges, a response to global shocks. They're using that word to frighten people. Global shocks, meaning any nation won't manage it or handle it on their own. It is going to be a shock to the system what is coming. And go and grab the actual handbook and look at what that global shock's going to be in Revelation. It's going to get interesting fast. Sustainable development and financing for development. We reaffirm that the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is our roadmap. The 2030 Agenda provides our blueprint, leaving no one behind. Addis Ababa Action Plan, part of the 2030 Agenda. We acknowledge the goals and targets of the 2030 Agenda. We remain resolved between now and 2030 in pursuit of the 2030 Agenda. We recognize the need for deep, rapid, and sustained reduction in greenhouse gas towards the 2030 Agenda. Net zero emissions by 2030. Climate change, climate finance. Maybe it's when the coins aren't that warm, when they cool down. Who knows? States are strongly urged to refrain from promulgating and applying any unilateral economical, financial, or trade measures not in accordance with international law and the Charter of the United Nations that impede the full achievement of economical and social development, particularly in developing countries. So run everything by the UN because they're going to be in charge as part of the New World Order. International peace and security. Crucial contribution of the United Nations to international peace and security since its founding in 1945. Just a few short years before 14 May 1948. Interesting. The United Nations remains fundamental to achieving collective security. Can't do it without them. Accelerating the implementation of the 2030 Agenda, Sustainable Development Goals, peace and security by 2030. International peace and security, pursuing agreements on disarmament in a time when everyone's trying to get more nukes. Regulation of arms, only they will have the arms. Peace and security agenda, peace and security, peace and security. We recognize that the United Nations is the most inclusive organization, as long as you're not Jewish or Christian. Side issues. 2030 Agenda, approach to sustaining peace, peace operations, peacekeeping, peace and security. I'm not just saying these things, I'm reading little touches all over this document, which is really a big bag of wind and lies. International peace and security, a world free of nuclear weapons. Ha! Ha ha! You almost had me there. Well done, well done. Peace and security. Science, technology, innovation, and digital cooperation for the 2030 Agenda. Youth and future generations as part of the 2030 Agenda. Address legislative or policy barriers that directly or indirectly prevent young persons under the age of 30 from running for public leadership positions. Transforming global governance. We commit to transforming global governance and reinvigorating the multilateral system. Seize the opportunities. They use seize because they're going to do a lot of seizing. Reaffirm the central position of the General Assembly as the chief deliberative, policy-making, and representative organ of the United Nations. Peace and security. Strengthen the office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Strengthen. The Antichrist is going to come and strengthen an agreement. Strengthen. improving the international response to complex global shocks of significant scale and severity. Someone here has read the book of Revelation. Secretary General to develop a set of protocols and convene and operationalize an emergency platform in the event of such a shock that has an impact on multiple regions of the world and requires a coherent, coordinated, and multidimensional response. Like the harpazo event of the rapture. It will affect the whole world. They will need a coherent, coordinated response. Even a multidimensional one, with their interdimensional beings providing many of the answers people will seek. International financing architecture urgently needs to be modernized and strengthened to better respond to the challenge of our time, CBDCs. COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the weaknesses of the global financial system. We underline the role of the United Nations in global economic governance. One body, one money system for the 2030 agenda, providing breathing room to countries hit by shocks. Global financing safety net, international cooperation, space traffic management, exploitation and utilization of the moon and other celestial bodies. Are they going to be up there handing out a ticket when Jesus comes back with us at the end of the 7 years? Because I'd like to see them try. Peaceful use of outer space and in consultation with relevant bodies of the United Nations system. I think they might have a problem with horses in space too. That could be a deal breaker for them, I think. So yeah, it tells you what you need to hear. It reveals exactly what they're working on. It shows you what the Bible's warned you about. And that's just one of many documents and plans. And that was just little highlights here and there. That is a thick document full of very big bags of wind, all enforcing their plan on this new world order that's coming and what's preparing and lying ahead for people who don't have Jesus. I don't have to worry. My passport's stamped with the blood of Jesus Christ. I'm out of here shortly. But until then, I'm going to get the word out to as many people that don't have their passport stamped yet, that haven't accepted Jesus yet, that they may know the truth, and we can rescue as many as we can from this chaos that they're planning in their peace and security that is going to lead to sudden destruction. Or hold on, their terminology, global shocks. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.